Hello, everybody. This is very exciting to see everyone's names pop in to the live launch for my charity. Thank you all so much for joining. You are watching me as I bring to life something that I've been working on for a very, very long time. My heart is racing and I actually feel like I'm getting married and I feel like it's my birthday all at the same time. I'm going to dawdle here for another minute or so and let more people join because I know that I, for one, don't always join a webinar right exactly at the moment that it starts. At all. At all. Oh, I love seeing this, all the messages coming in. Thank you all so much for being here and supporting me. I'm here right now at my communal workspace called Mortimer House with my tiny little team, Simona and Grace, who have helped me bring this to life. And I'm going to tell you all about what it is. Thank you for waiting so long to hear anything about it. It's been rather undercover as I put this together. So I'd like to invite you all to put your screens on full screen mode so that you can enjoy this to the maximum. You'll be able to do that if you go up to the upper right-hand corner of your monitor and you'll see a little thing that says view, and you can click on that and select full screen mode because I will be showing videos and they'll look much better in full screen mode. The other very important thing that I have to tell you all is that right now this is, as it said on the invitation, a soft launch. So the real official launch is the evening of the 23rd of June, which means that if you're here right now, you're here as very special family, friends, and humans, not in your perhaps vocational way as press. So if you happen to be a press person, thank you so much for being here, but just be yourself, enjoy, you're not working right now. And all the information that I share, please will you keep it a secret until the evening of the 23rd of June or morning of the 24th of June, just to be safe. Thank you very much for doing that. Also, the website and the Instagram will not go live until the morning of the 24th of June. So I think I'm pretty ready to begin now. That was all the housekeeping out of the way. I am Arizona Muse, as many of you know. I am an activist and I have started a charity and I'm launching it right now. And I'm ready to show you a video that I've created that will explain quite a bit about what this is, and then I'll come back on after and explain some more. So enjoy the video. In every single Indigenous language, the earth is referred to as her. This means that every single one of our ancestors used to think of the earth as a feminine being. In contemporary speech, it is considered far-fetched to think of the earth as a she or anything other than an object. There is a problem that this type of thinking leads to. When you believe something is an object, as opposed to a living, growing, developing being, then it is very difficult to build a relationship with a, in quotes, it. I've heard so many times from all the wildest people that the way to change your behavior toward the earth is to acknowledge that the earth is a being who is suffering. It is nearly impossible to change your behavior unless you're doing it out of care for someone living. This is why, from now on, I will refer to the earth with the pronoun of she. I'm Arizona Muse. I'm a model who has spent the most recent half of her career delving deep into the science behind sustainability, pollution, and climate change. But what pulls my heartstrings the hardest is farming. This is where the solution for climate change lies. Look around you. Almost everything you see will have come from a farm. All the clothes that I modeled in were grown in soil. The industry is so glossy and dazzling, I had never stopped to consider that it all starts in the dirt, with raw materials like cotton, leather, cashmere, viscose from trees, wool, silk, metal for fastenings and buttons. If you've worn clothes lately, it's likely that a farmer grew them for you. If you've used a beauty product recently, It means a farmer grew those ingredients for you in soil. The rugs on your floor are likely made of wool that came from a sheep farm. Any wood that's in your furniture or building materials, paper that you write on, came from trees. Everything we use was given to us by farmers. Every single product we need in our daily lives has potential to regenerate soil, if the farmer creating it is supported to do so. I'm starting a charity now to help us clean up our act and begin to have a positive impact on our communal home, planet Earth. The goal is a grand global movement that reverberates across all sectors, reminding us that we are all just a bunch of humans connected by our common playground, Mother Nature. Let me introduce you to dirt, the foundation for the regeneration of Earth. It's simple, it's available, and we are standing on it. Soil regeneration through biodynamic farming. Biodynamic farming offers the opportunity to grow everything we need for all industries in soil that is saving the world, billions of microorganisms at a time. I'm not interested in surface solutions that are merely temporary band-aids on gushing wounds. We have a carbon problem. Today, there is twice as much carbon dioxide in our atmosphere as there was 200 years ago. Twice as much. This is halfway caused by the unearthing and burning of fossil fuels. The other half of carbon emissions is caused by farming practices that literally turn soil upside down and kill all the plant matter, which releases carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Plants capture carbon out of the atmosphere by drinking it into their leaves along with sunlight and sending it down to their roots to trade it with the soil's microorganisms. All the trillions of living microorganisms who used to thrive in soil are dead. 3/4 of the Earth's soil is degraded. From the open wounds of tilled fields, greenhouse gases escape at alarming rates. Water can no longer be absorbed, and ultimately weather patterns change through water evaporation. It's called climate change. The solution to climate change lies just beneath the surface of the Earth. Biodynamic farming regenerates soil. Richly biodiverse biodynamic farms that don't disturb soil capture carbon out of the atmosphere and sink it deep into the earth, where it is no longer dangerous. A symbiotic exchange of nutrients. If all managed land were converted to biodynamic farming, chemical fertilizer would be reduced by 200 million tons a year. That has immense impact. Humans can help to breathe life back into soils globally by supporting biodynamic farming practices. The time has come to give back to soil, to nurture it, to repay our debt to soil for the immense profits that our industries have drawn from it without consent. The Earth needs biodynamic farming to regenerate soil, purify water, and connect us human beings back down into the core of life. Biodynamics is a nature-based solution to climate change. Dirt is helping to harness the power of all industries to get behind biodynamic farming to regenerate our Earth globally. Fortunately, every industry is filled with people who can all make decisions to make change, to create new systems that actually serve the wellness of the Earth. So that's what I've been working on for the last 6 years of my life, is activism, educating myself into the world, the earth, how everything works. And this is why I'm launching this charity, is because I do believe that biodynamic farming has the potential behind it to reverse climate change. And this is what we need to be investing our time, emotions, money, wisdom, everything. We need to be investing into this because it can actually change everything, the way the world functions, the way the earth is. And why I've chosen biodynamics is for two reasons. The first reason is that it is protected by a certification, and that certification is called Demeter. And I'll show you what that Demeter certification label looks like so that you can find it when you're buying food, or hopefully soon, even clothing and wood, anything that could be produced on a biodynamic farm. The other reason why I've chosen biodynamics is for the simple reason that plants, we know that they are a physical thing. We can touch them, we can even eat them. But something in them keeps them alive and growing. And it's there, but we can't measure it and we can't see it, but it's undeniably there. So modern science goes, okay, we're just going to ignore it because we can't measure it. But biodynamics says, actually, not only are we going to acknowledge that plants and animals and the earth and humans have a life force, something vital inside them, but we're going to farm that. So biodynamic farming farms the life within the plant, which is what is so special about it. And the other reason why I think it's important that it has a certification is that we've seen what happened to the word sustainable. And the word sustainable has been watered down and reduced to almost nothing, and anyone can use it and throw it around. And there's a lot of greenwashing around that. And right now, there are many other different types of regenerative agriculture, and they're all amazing. I would like to say that they're all amazing. All those farmers are incredible doing other types of regenerative agriculture. But I'm concerned, as many other people are too, that the word regenerative could have a future similar to sustainable, where it gets watered down and reduced to something that it wasn't in the beginning. And that is where biodynamics is safe because of Demeter. So now I'm going to take another little video break, which I hope you're all excited about, and share with you a video about monocropping, because monocropping is something that is pretty dangerous to biodiversity and the life of our planet. So here we go. A monoculture is everything that nature is not. It is where one single species of plant or animal is grown or raised on its own, without help and connection with any other species. So picture a field. Any field that's growing corn is a monoculture. Corn would much prefer to be grown amongst squash and beans because those plants support each other through their root systems. If one field is growing filled entirely with one species, then it invites pretty much only one species of pest. That is the same with disease. When a field is a monoculture, it becomes vulnerable to the invasion of insects and disease because each plant attracts a certain insect. If they're in a biodiverse setting with many species living amongst each other, a wide array of pests will be attracted, and they'll happily eat each other and keep their population numbers in check. A monocultured crop cannot regulate itself healthily. And this is why we use chemicals on monocultures. The way to stop using chemicals in farming is to grow richly biodiverse crops and animals all together. So dirt aims to work with all industries because really when you think about it, every single thing we use is farmed. Everything, even forests, and everything could be farmed biodynamically. Right now, 37% of Earth's terrestrial surface is farmed and managed. And so we could be doing that biodynamically. by spreading the biodynamic preparations, which are magical tinctures that are working on exactly what I was talking about earlier about that non-physical element of the plants. Those tinctures are made on the farm and sprayed on the farm at different times of years for very specific uses, which is fascinating. And we'll be sharing more information on those on the website once it launches on the 24th. So please come and visit there. I have one last video to show you, which is about mining, because mining is something that is really kind of distant from farming, yet not. Here we go. I used to think of technology as being so distant from the earth because it's made from substances that are so foreign to the earth and has nothing to do with the earth. But then I discovered more about mining, and I realized that every single thing in a computer comes from a mine, including minerals like cobalt and lithium, and metals like steel and aluminum, brass, gold. Every single element that makes a computer work comes from the earth, in fact. And it has to be extracted from the earth, and that's not easy. And we don't always know where those minerals lie. So sometimes we excavate and we don't even find anything. And the scars that are created from the excavation of the earth are so damaging. They take years and years to repair naturally. Not only do they cause damage to the earth, but they cause damage to the communities who live around them, of humans and of animals and of plants. Topsoil is where roots can grow and take nutrients. But when a vast amount of topsoil and what's underneath it has been removed, regeneration is just not possible until topsoil has been rebuilt through the movement of leaves being dropped onto the scar and slowly building a layer of decomposed earth. Now, when the scar is so big that leaves will never fall upon it, or when the forest that used to lie around it has been deforested and cut down, there's no hope. That scar needs human help to regenerate. Farmers can help it to regenerate. Biodynamic farms, when they are placed over the scars of mines, can regenerate land so much more swiftly than it would be able to naturally. Biodynamic farms will encourage biodiversity by planting multi-species of plants that attract pollinator insects and then attract the birds who eat those insects. The birds will eat seeds and they'll carry them in their bodies and leave them somewhere else to grow. Nature works in such a creative and perfect way. Biodynamic farming supports this to create soil that can support life. There will be more of those videos available on the website once it launches, so please have a look there. Also on the Instagram channel, we'll be posting those and we'll continue to make them. We've got a library already of about 6 or 7 that are so amazing. I do want to show you right now, but it would just take up too much time. So you'll have to go and find them later. And I wanted to talk about how I got inspired to do this, because activism wasn't an obvious path for me. I was so shy as a child, so shy. I mean, I'm so nervous right now. And so I would never have imagined, if you'd asked me, oh, do you think you'll be an activist? No, I do not think that I will ever be able to stand up and public speak and try to inspire change ever, but I do. And one of the places where I've drawn the most inspiration ever and learned the biggest things is always from Indigenous cultures, always. what they say and how they are in the world is so different to how I grew up, that it's an immense mind-opening experience to read things from authors who are different than me and discover the world from a different point of view and understand how there are still people out there who hold the earth sacred to themselves and they have a relationship with it. So one thing that I've been trying to do is build a relationship between myself and the earth. And I can tell you it's working. It's an amazing journey to go on because it is such a real and visceral thing after a while. And I didn't think that that would ever be true because a few years ago, maybe 8 years ago, I would have thought, what do you mean a relationship? You can have a relationship with someone who you can feel and touch, but actually you can have a relationship with the earth, and it's a really deep and meaningful one, like really, really good. So I just wanted to say that. And we have a lot of projects all over the world that are in the biodynamic movement, that are always on biodynamic farms, and that is the main piece of criteria, that they are using biodynamics. And a few examples of those are, there's a regenerating mining scar project in Uganda, and there's a forest in Brazil that is producing viscose for the fashion industry, that I would love for that to be managed biodynamically. That would reduce the amount of chemicals insanely, and it would be so good for the earth. So good for the earth and the people who are managing that forest as well. There's also a wool project in England that is building a network of biodynamic farmers who produce wool so that the fashion industry in England can start sourcing local and certified biodynamic wool, which would be incredible once that is off the ground. Deborah Barker is this amazing, amazing human who's been working on this project already and is brilliant, absolutely brilliant, with the Southeast England Fibre Shed. So this charity, starting this charity, has enabled me to connect with incredible people all over the world who are doing the most marvelous work in the face of climate change. And all of these projects are that. They are looking at how can we reverse climate change? How can we use biodynamic farming to reverse climate change? And this is where I want to connect with industries and individuals who may never have been introduced to biodynamic farming otherwise, but now are through the work of this charity. The fundraising model is a little unusual. It is not me just gathering money, because I don't really feel like that's right. Who am I to know where that money should be spent? It's not really my decision. And so instead, what I'm doing is gathering projects that can be funded. So if you know a business who might want to fund a project, please connect them with DIRT, because we can match the right budget. We have projects that go from about 500 euros all the way up to 10 million. So we can really match you wherever you're standing as a business or as an individual, of course. But I think it makes sense because businesses have profited for a long time off the degradation of soil. And now here we are asking businesses and helping businesses to regenerate soil. So I love that how that really makes sense and seems really authentic. Another way that you can help is, of course, by sourcing biodynamic products. So food right now has had the biggest success for biodynamics. There's a lot of biodynamic food and wine. Wine really put biodynamics on the map by making it popular and making the word known. But we can all together, this community that we're building, here we go with how you can help. Of course, sharing our mission on social media is super helpful, and we'll have those assets available as soon as the launch has happened on the 24th of June 2021. I personally go and volunteer on biodynamic farms as often as I can, and I have to say I have the most amazing time whenever I'm there. Biodynamic farmers are incredibly rich humans. They are so intelligent and observant. They're on another level of being human. And it's really fascinating to go and spend a day with them and help them. And you get hot and sweaty and there's dirt under your nails and you feel so good. And if you're lucky, you get to share a biodynamic meal with them after working in their fields. And there is nothing that I love more than doing that. And now I'd like to share with you our trustees. We have some wonderful, wonderful people who have agreed to be trustees. Thank you so much to all of you. I'm just waiting for that slide. Here we go. These are all people who I've met and who have had a big impact on my life and my understanding of the world and of the activism that I do, and have supported me, mentored me, shared their brilliance with me. And I am so grateful to all of them. Thank you so much for your input into this. And then to finish off, I'd like to thank the people who have been involved in getting this charity off the ground. And that is Simona Valsketa, who is so wonderful. She's that kind of magic person who makes her own remedies and can take care of everybody. And we're calling her head of operations, but really operations is a grand word in this sense. She does absolutely everything. Grace Reynolds, whose videos you just saw, who is absolutely so talented, this young woman who has made everything visual that you'll see for the charity and for my own Instagram, actually, for ages. She's really, really special. Tom Buchanan, who's my agent who represents me for everything environmental. Tom, you have really outdone yourself on this. You've always been amazing since we started working together about 2 years ago, but for this launch and everyone, you will see the media outreach that will happen after this launch. And that is all Tom doing this amazing job. Thank you so much, Tom. And Peter Browning, thank you so much for your support on this project for Browning Environmental, which is the organization that Tom is with, who represents me for all my activism and environmental work. The biodynamic movement, thank you most of all, because you are the reason that I've done this, and you've taught me so much, so much. And to have your incredible positive response as I started this, as I talked about this about 2 years ago, saying, I think I'd like to start something that is a bridge between the biodynamic movement and the other industries who don't know yet what biodynamics is and don't know that they could be sourcing biodynamic materials for everything they make and do. So thank you so much for having me on your farms, and thank you for having me at your conferences, and thank you for getting to know me. I really, really appreciate it. It's enriched my life so much. My family as well, my amazing, funny, sexy husband who dances so well, who makes me laugh so much. Happy Father's Day as well, as it is today. Thank you for looking after our children so beautifully. Thank you to my son, Nico, who's 12 now. And since he was 6, he's been listening to me come home. And he's the most excited person to hear about what I'm learning about the activism, about nature. He's a little nature boy, has always been. He's the 3-year-old who wanted a bedtime story that was a camping book manual. Like, yes, you hammer in the tent pegs 6 centimeters down into the earth. That was what he wanted as a bedtime story. So he has really inspired this whole learning journey for me. Thank you so much, Nico. And my daughter, Sai, she eats plenty of soil. So that's great. She's doing her help in that way. And my mom and my dad, thank you so much for being my parents and helping me to grow up into who I am today. And my mom is the one who first introduced me to biodynamics by sending me to a Waldorf school, where I went on a camping trip when I was 10 to stay on a biodynamic farm. And then she reminded me about that trip when I was an activist, when I was flailing around in this world going, what is the answer? I'm learning all about climate change and it's awful. We're headed toward a really dangerous future, but how can we stop it? And I was reading about the hundreds of millions of dollars that are being invested into technologies to solve climate change, like big machines made out of steel that suck carbon out of the air and inject it deep into the earth. And I'm just thinking, wow, I'm not sure that's going to work. I'm not sure it's going to be swift enough. And it costs so much in material to make that machine anyway. So is it really the best use of our time and our smartest scientists' brains to do things like that? Or is the solution more simple and more nature-based? And is it called biodynamic farming? So on that note, I'm going to leave you. And thank you again from the bottom of my heart for being here with me today to launch this charity. And please prepare for many, many years of fun, because I plan to have so much fun on this journey, as I have done already. Thank you, fellow activists, for igniting this fun in this movement. We have the best time ever. We laugh so much, so much. And I invite every single one of you to find your own inner activist. If you've listened to me here speak before, you might find that you remember that I say this a lot, that every one of us has an activist. As I said, I didn't think I did, but I do. And activism can be loud, or it can be really small. Activism can be just on social media or just with your own children. It doesn't matter, but that building a relationship with the earth is part of activism, and you can do it every single day for the rest of your life, and your life will only feel better. So I'll leave you with one last slide, that is how to contact us, either on Instagram, by email, or on the website, which will launch soon. Thank you so much, everyone. Have an amazing Father's Day.